Hi, I'm Zarina Matcha, and you're watching Non-Feminist Gal. Feminism has sold men and women numerous worldwide myths and lies regarding its necessity and extent to which it paved the way for women to enjoy the rights that we do in today's society. In this video, I'm going to explain 5 key feminist myths that I personally have unlearned over the years and believe that those who look into feminism would also do well to. Number 1. Women have been oppressed since the dawn of time due to patriarchy. Patriarchy is a misunderstood concept that is a fundamental part of feminism. In my opinion, one cannot truly be a feminist without believing that we live in a patriarchy. Feminism exists on the basis that women are oppressed under a patriarchal system. This is why I don't really view liberal feminism as feminism, I just view it as liberalism. Most liberal feminists, or choice feminists, don't really want to overturn the patriarchy. They just want women to have equal rights, which we already do in most Western societies. Patriarchal societies were designed to work around men and women's natural gender roles. They were set up to protect women, as we are the ones who bear the children, hence why women remained in the home. Men were the ones who went out and fought in the wars and did all of the harder labor. This was all thanks to patriarchy, which ironically pushed the toughest roles in society onto men. So much for male privilege. As science, technology, and the industrial and then digital revolutions have occurred, natural social evolution has allowed men and women to not have to abide by strict gender roles anymore. This is just natural social progress. Ironically, a lot of advances in modern industries were thanks to all of the efforts by men under patriarchy. Moreover, even in patriarchal societies, women were not viewed as second-class citizens. They were respected in their roles as wives and mothers, and were still able to work outside of the home in certain female-dominated industries. During medieval England, certain industries like the textile industry, the nursing industry, farming, and prostitution were all areas of life where women's contributions were rampant. I'll be discussing this more in a future video on the myth of patriarchy and female oppression. Yes, some societies have taken patriarchy too far, but again, most of this was done with the goal of protecting women. For example, in Islamic societies, women are told to cover up their entire bodies from head to toe. This can be viewed as patriarchal oppression, but it's also done for the protection of women to protect women from sexual harassment. Needless to say, I don't at all agree with telling women to cover up, but I can see its internal logic. Patriarchy means men wanting to take care of and protect women, not wanting to oppress women. Many egalitarian, matrilineal societies have indeed existed throughout human history, such as the Ashanti tribe in Ghana, the Masua tribe in China, the Native American Navajo tribe, the Khasi tribe in India, and the Minangkabau tribe of Indonesia. What transitioned us from matrilineage to patrilineage, and thus ensuring men held political power and land ownership was passed from father to son, was the transition from tribes to agriculture with the event of the agricultural revolution. But as mentioned earlier, this put more pressure on men and gave men more responsibilities of having to work and provide for their families. With great power comes great responsibility. What I don't really understand about feminism is that it is so quick to belittle patriarchal societies, yet matrilineage and matriarchy is viewed as admirable. That sounds pretty sexist. They're just two different sorts of societies. Number 2. Women are paid less than men for doing the same job. This one's a no-brainer. Of course, women are not paid less than men for doing the same job across the Western and European world. In the UK and the USA, this has been illegal since the 1960s and 70s due to simple economics. It makes no economical sense to pay women less than men if you want to keep your female employees happy. Unfortunately, there's a lot of feminist propaganda out there insisting that there is a wage gap because for some reason feminists want women to believe that they are oppressed and viewed as second-class citizens so that we shall turn to feminism in order to get liberation. In reality, women earn less money than men overall because women typically work shorter hours and choose lower paying work than men. Women are also more likely to take time off due to maternity leave and prioritize time spent with their children as opposed to working outside the home when children are young. Women who are able to earn more money and move higher up in their careers typically either postpone having children or forego them altogether. Women like Oprah Winfrey and Helen Gurley Brown are examples of this. Although many women have indeed had thriving careers while also being mothers, such as Margaret Thatcher. It's not oppressive to tell women that we must make our choices based around our decisions to have children. This is just common sense. Personally, I do think that feminism has always been very anti-family and very anti-motherhood, which is why it has sold women this lie that motherhood is synonymous with oppression. It shouldn't be sexist to tell a woman that if she wants to fundamentally prioritize her career, then children will have to either come later or not at all. This is pure common sense. I definitely don't think that any woman should ever be forced or coerced or pressured into having children. However, I do think that we must indeed make those decisions and decide whether or not we want to prioritize children or our career, and at what time we choose to prioritize this. We can have it all, but not all at once, which is the lie that feminism has sold many women, and thus force women to take on the enormous pressures of both working in the home and out of the home, while trying to do everything at once, because superwomen and girl power, right? Number 3, women can do everything that men can do because there is no difference between the sexes. Once again, feminism has been so focused on pushing women into male-dominated professions that it's forgotten that men and women are physically and psychologically different. One study in Sweden, an extremely liberal and egalitarian society, found that when given the choice, boys still typically opted for more traditionally male-centric professions, while girls opted for more traditionally female-centric professions. Why is this oppressive? This sounds more like feminism wanting to undermine classically feminine pursuits due to wanting women to become like men, rather than celebrating women's contribution to the arts, humanities, and child-centered professions. Feminists love to talk about how there aren't enough women in STEM, but what about all of the female nurses, writers, actresses, teachers, psychologists, and so on? Why does it matter that women are geared more towards these professions? We should be celebrating these women, not whinging about the lack of female engineers. Women and men are not the same. We typically have different needs and strengths. This doesn't mean that if a girl wants to become an engineer, doctor, or scientist, that she shouldn't be able to. She should absolutely have that opportunity, and plenty of women have made waves in dozens of industries throughout the dawn of humanity. But it also should be fine to admit that for the most part, women are more typically suited to and usually prefer certain professions. The same goes for men. Feminism needs to stop undervaluing female-oriented pursuits and professions and instead respect and support women for our unique contributions to society. Why is a woman more empowered for pursuing law or engineering as opposed to nursing and psychology? This is sexism, and it comes from feminism, because feminism doesn't really care about women, it cares about feminist women. Number 4, feminism was initially good but has now become bad. Personally, I think feminism was worse between the 1960s and 80s, which is what most people call second wave feminism, than it is today. This is because when feminism first started in the 1960s, it was extremely white-centric, anti-marriage, and anti-motherhood. To some degree, it was also anti-heterosexual sex and against things like prostitution, pornography, beauty pageants, and basically women being physically desirable to men. Contemporary feminism proposes 2 main viewpoints: the more radical, misandric-leaning feminist position, following on from post-60s feminism, espoused by people like Anita Sarkeesian, Laura Bates, Jessica Valenti. The second viewpoint, which most people who call themselves feminists nowadays follow, is choice feminism. Choice feminism is more about the idea that feminism means giving women choice, espoused by celebrities like Adele, Emma Watson, and Beyonce. I do have a video called The Problem with Choice Feminism, which you can watch in the cards. Modern feminism has now become more intersectional and about achieving equality for all oppressed people. That includes women, gender non-conforming people, people of color, trans people, everyone except men, obviously, because feminism never really cared about men, unless they're gay or trans men. I do have many issues with intersectional feminism as well, but at least it has attempted to rectify some of the earlier, more white, upper middle class focused aspects of feminism. However, I don't think that feminism has ever been an overall positive thing from when it started in the 1960s to now in the 2020s. It makes women bitter and angry and doesn't teach us to become better people. It doesn't teach us how to take responsibility or teach us how to love and appreciate men. Instead, it makes us resent them and even fear them, with narratives of rape culture being pushed onto the mainstream society. Number 5. All the rights that modern women have today are thanks to feminism. This is perhaps the largest and most challenging lie and myth that we have all been sold. Feminism is not responsible for most of the social and legal rights that women have today. Did it contribute? To some extent. I'm not going to sit here and say that feminism has done absolutely nothing to help women. I do think that it intended to help women. I do think that it had good intentions, but unfortunately it also took everything to the extreme. Classical liberalism said that men and women should be treated as equals, and thus women should have voting and political rights. But feminism says that women are oppressed and must overturn the patriarchy. The Industrial Revolution and capitalism urged for more women to enter the workforce and pushed for more women to work outside the home, even though, as I mentioned earlier, in certain time periods such as the medieval era, women did indeed work outside the home. Feminism says that being a housewife and mother is not a suitable ambition for a woman, and that women should strive to pursue professions in male-dominated industries rather than choose professions based on our own volition and own individual merit. Secularism says that sex is nothing to be ashamed of and that women should have reproductive freedom and the choice to sleep with whoever we want. But feminism says that women can be just as promiscuous as men without acknowledging that many women are not emotionally and psychologically equipped to handle or enjoy casual sex. Egalitarianism says that men and women deserve equal respect and equality of opportunity, and that we are equally important. But feminism says that men are more privileged than women, and thus don't care about men's issues, and instead fight for women to have special privileges on the basis of false oppression. Feminism is an ideology based on a lie. The biggest lie that feminism ever told women is that being a woman is fundamentally oppressive. Feminism has sold women a narrative that teaches us to devalue our femininity and our womanhood rather than embrace it and celebrate it. There is nothing oppressive about being a woman. Being a woman is a wonderful thing, and most men don't want to oppress women. Most men are rather decent people because most people are decent people. No attempt at dividing the sexes against each other will change the fact that we are better united than we are divided. Thank you for watching.